The U.S. troops used more than 15 million tons of bombs during their war in Vietnam, about 5% of which remains unexploded, continuing to cause fatalities and injuries to those living in the affected areas. A new release study on July 31st in Hanoi called for national strategy to settle the issue, which would take over 300 years to put to an end.
Nearly 35 years after the war ended, Vietnamese civilians are still routinely killed and injured by leftover mines and other explosives. The study, co-produced by the Ministries of Defense and the Vietnam Veterans of America Foundation, provides the most detailed information to date about the amount and location of unexploded ordnance littering a region that saw some of the heaviest fighting and bombardment during the war.
The survey was the result of a close and unprecedented partnership between an American NGO and Ministry of Defense on one of the most sensitive legacies of the war. It's really important because it helps us to define the scope of the mine clearing work that remains to be done.
Started in February 2004 and continuing to December 2008, the study combined archived U.S. data of bombing missions during the war with interviews of over 33,000 people living in 1,361 communities in 6 central provinces. At the end of this project, the government approved a national survey to determine the amount and social impact of unexploded ordnance and landmines.
The national personnel are now fully capable of expanding this survey to the national level when funding becomes available. It's our hope that the donor community, the international organizations, and the international non-governmental organizations continue to support us to expedite mine action programs in Vietnam.
Speaking at the event, U.S. Ambassador Michael Michalak said, a national strategy would provide the donor community with vital information regarding the impact of landmines and unexploded ordnance upon communities and ways to help.
We need the help of the government of Vietnam in order to come up with good national planning and to come up with a good strategy going forward so that I can go back to my people and that other countries can go back to their budget people and say, okay, here's the plan, here's how we're going to do it, now you give us the money and we'll go out and do it.
Statistics show that more than 42,000 people have been killed in unexploded ordnance landmine accidents since 1975, and around 16.3 million acres in Vietnam are still contaminated across the country, and the clearing of unexploded ordnance and landmines might take over 300 years to complete. This historic project between the Ministries of Defense and the VVAF could be seen as a model of reconciliation and normalization of relations between the U.S. and Vietnam.